And the only thing I have is the feeling that I'm not alone, that the world is far more complicated than I realized. There is much more to this world than is known. When I'm born, somewhere between 3 months old and 6 months old, and I'm in what you would call a crib, and the crib sides are made of wood, and they're slatted, brightly coloured, blue, green, yellow, red. And then I see 2 legs, and the legs are green coloured, and they're stick-like. And I see these 2 legs coming up to the crib, and then I see movement, and then these 2 hands come down, and they're very odd because they're green, and then I'm lifted up. My head falls backwards because I can't hold my head up. I'm lifted up, and then I'm tilted, and then my head falls forward. Remember my chin hitting the front of my chest, and I'm looking straight into the eyes of what we would now call a mantis. Different from most other extraterrestrials or extra-dimensionals because they make telepathic connection through the eyes. So they make their connection through your retina and the optic nerve to your brain. So when I looked straight into this being's eyes, the feeling I got was of falling down a hole. So if you were to stand and walk backwards over the edge of a cliff and fall backwards, that's the feeling I got, and then I have no more memory. So that's the very first memory I have. I got, you are special, you are loved. So that's the first telepathic message there. The mantis just disappear, but a grey comes up. I don't like greys very much.
Why do you think that you do not like the greys, and what is the relationship between the praying mantis who was there followed by the greys?
Part of my soul is mantis, and I tend to look down on the greys. From the mantis perspective, part of my soul is sort of a human, and I don't like the greys because they sold out. The greys that I'm familiar with sold out to a faction of the reptilians operating through other greys who came to the human race when the human race was desperate and was just on its knees, basically, offered them eternal life, cloning of bodies, and over a period of time they changed from a human form into a grey form.
Are the praying mantises controlling the evolution of life on Earth as a laboratory?
No, but they are monitoring it and tweaking it, but they don't control it. But they do have a view as to what should happen.
Who controls Earth?
One half, I would say, is divine source, which is our free will combined with the energies and the consciousness of the planet, and for the overall creator, which wants humans to evolve and develop. And then on the other hand, it's a reptilian, what I call artificial intelligence force, which wishes to see humans develop into machines, and the reptilian force wishes just to keep the status quo. So those two are not mutually working together. They are separate. But the mantis group is neither one nor the other of those. The group I'm connected with, I mean, there are lots of mantis groups, and I can't speak for the groups I don't know. The group that I have association with wants the humans to evolve.
Well, I was exposed in 1983 to an alleged briefing paper for the President of the United States. The subject was unidentified aerial craft, or UACs, and it also referred to extraterrestrial biological entities, EBINs. And there is a paragraph I have never forgotten. The first sentence, these extraterrestrial biological entities have manipulated DNA in already evolving primates to create Homo sapien. If that sentence is true, who would you fill in the blank as being the ones in charge of manipulating DNA in already evolving primates on Earth to create Homo sapien?
I would absolutely agree 100% with that. But I would say it's more complicated, that the final alteration, which I believe was probably done around 220,000 years ago, that was a reptilian manipulation. But there have been several manipulations prior to that which have been done by different groups. I do not believe one alien group is responsible for all of the alterations on humanity. I away, or one group's been based here, done something, left it alone, and then come back and done something more. The final one, which is really where my memory starts, is about 220,000 years ago. The mantis have a different agenda to the reptilian race or any other race to do with the humans. The mantis played its own game, been very, very independent.
What is the praying mantis goal?
For humans to evolve.
In what direction?
Well, de-evolving is going down. That's not what they want. To evolve is to change, to break free of the matrix, and to basically get back telepathic powers, telekinetic powers, to be what humans really always should have been.
Okay, so friendly and unfriendly. In the friendly category to humans, you would put praying mantis.
I can only put the group that I know of. I can't say that all praying mantises are like that. I can only talk about the group that I am in connection with.
And that the Draco constellation and the Draco standing up reptilians have been playing a power territorial bully role in the Milky Way galaxy and other galaxies for a very long time.
Yes.
What is the goal of the Draco reptilians?
Do you mean the goal on this planet or goal generally?
Both, as you understand it.
The goal here is just to maintain the same status quo.
Because they are in control of planet Earth?
Because they are in control of the elite human minds who run the planet. They are in control of the human population by and large because they control most, but not all, of the elites in different governments.
Yeah, the 1% of Earth that's been there for at least 5,000 years is the same type of 1% that has always had a chokehold on the rest of humanity.
Yes.
How do the Greys play in this, and what is their role and agenda?
Well, I'm not familiar with all the different Greys. The Greys that I've seen, first of all, are the ones that don't have a soul. They are just empty. They're just robots. But I do feel sorry sometimes for them because they are trapped. They are prisoners. They cannot escape. They are being used. Then there's the other Greys who have a soul in their body, and they have much smaller eyes. They're quite spiritual. The shape of their head is different, and they're quite kind. But there's not many of them, and they've been at war with the reptilians for a very long time. But there are other forms of Greys, quite a lot of them. They don't necessarily have a base here, but they all come and go. But the ones who did have strong bases here, most of them didn't have a soul in their body.
What about the so-called Nordics, the blondes that can have blue, green, gold eyes, that can be either tall or short?
Well, I've never seen them in a facility or a spaceship that also had reptilians. They hate each other. They absolutely hate each other. So I've never seen them in close association. Reptilians are very psychic beings. They're one of the most psychic group that I've ever met. The reptilian will know what you're thinking almost before you know what you're thinking yourself. They have the ability to, first of all, go into your mind, if you let them, and give you a false picture of what you're seeing, so they could appear to you as something completely different. The second way of doing it is through advanced technology and genetics, where you link incredibly advanced sentient computers at a distance with your own psychic ability, and you then can change the molecular structure of your body, not your physical body as such, but 1 millimeter beyond your body. So it's like a screen, and when people look at that person, they see something else. So they're not being affected in their mind. Their eyes are seeing an image which is correctly relayed to the brain.
Projected like a three-dimensional hologram over the surface.
Correct. I remember in about 1965, an alien being arriving into my front room when I lived in Brighton, when my mother, lifting me up and putting me on the coffee table, and then pointing to the ceiling and say, look at the ceiling. And when I looked at the ceiling changed and was a black night sky with lots of stars. Well, it wasn't really happening, but the alien being was going into my head and giving me an experience. All of these experiences have allowed me now to know when someone's trying to trick me or whether it's real. The praying mantis have a unique position because they were born on this planet. And that is why that they are connected to the planet. They are a very old race. They have been accepted by many other off-planet entities as an arbiter. So like you would have a game of American football, you have a referee. The mantis plays the role of the referee. So the mantis role is as arbiter,